Alright guys, here just want to look at some review problems, kind of putting all these properties of exponents together before you start your Desmos activity. So on the first one, here you're doing a negative exponents. So remember, the terms that have negative exponents, we're going to take the reciprocal of the base. In other words, like switch their position. So here the base is x, has the negative exponent of -3. That starts on the top, goes to the bottom. After I move it, I rewrite that power as positive. Same with this, with the negative exponent of 6. Now when I rewrite it as positive, if these were both the same variable, like if it was, for instance, this, well, then I could go further, saying, well, there's 3 more, or the exponent of the top is larger than the exponent of the bottom. There's 3 more x's and get this. But because these are different variables, they're different bases, I cannot simplify any further, and I'm left with just this. Alright, number 2, here I've got a couple negative exponents. So these ones are kind of tricky. You got to go just small steps at a time. So here I'm going to circle inside the parentheses the term that has the negative exponent attached to it. Notice I did not include the coefficient of 3 out in front because this -4 exponent is only on the x. So that was in the top, now it goes to the bottom. The coefficient of 3 is still in the numerator, and then I rewrite x now to the +4th in the denominator. Now that exponent outside of the parentheses is still there, so bring him down. Now that everything inside the parentheses is good, now I can focus my attention outside the parentheses to this exponent of -2. Because that's a negative exponent attached to the fraction. Remember, it means take the reciprocal. So if I flip these, because I'm taking the reciprocal with the negative exponent, I'll rewrite that fraction as now 3 in the denominator, x to the 4th in the numerator. That makes my exponent not -2, but now +2, right? Because we take the reciprocal with negative exponents, rewrite them as positive. Now I need to distribute that exponent to both the numerator and denominator. Here, power raised to a power, multiply those exponents, get x to the 8th. And then here it's not 3 times 2, it's not the big number times the little number, it's the big number raised to the little number, which is 3 squared. So x to the 8th over 9. Alright, number 3. Again, let's focus inside the parentheses first to simplify what we can. So here, the exponent that has a negative, or negative exponent, this -5, is attached to only the base of x. So that's the only thing on the move. The coefficient of 3 stays, the 4 and the x to the 6 stays because there are no negative exponents attached to those. So now inside of the parentheses, I'd have this, but also multiplied by that new x to the 5th that I brought down. Well, monomial times a monomial, I can add those exponents to get x to the 11th, and then still that exponent of 3, outside of the parentheses. Distribute that power. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. 4 times 4 times 4. I'll quick get a calculator for that. But 4 raised to the 3rd power is 64. And then here, monomial to a power, I get x to the 33rd power. Alright. Here, number 4, negative exponent outside of the parentheses, and I can't really do anything else inside the parentheses, so I'm good on the inside, but because this exponent is negative, I'm going to take the reciprocal of this fraction and then rewrite that power as positive. Once I do that, I can distribute that power, so that gives me y to the 4th. And now this is not 1 times 4. Remember, it's a big number raised to a little number exponent. So 1 to the 4th, 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 is just 1. You can leave that as an answer, or anything divided by 1 is just itself. All right, number 5, circling the ones that have negative exponents, because we're going to take the reciprocal of those bases. Notice these ones, the y to the or y squared and then x to the 7th, do not have negative exponents, so they stay where they are. These ones, however, with the negative exponents, are on the move. So y to the negative 8th, that comes up, rewrite it as positive. Same thing with the x to the negative 5th. Now it's down to the denominator, write it as positive. Alright, and then here to finish, monomial times a monomial, add the exponents, same thing in the bottom. So you get y to the 10th over x to the 12th. Alright, here I don't have any negative exponents in the parentheses. This negative is a coefficient. We don't move negative coefficients because the exponent is still 1. So we're not moving that negative 2. So everything in the parentheses is good. However, there's a negative 3 exponent outside of the parentheses. So again, when it's a negative exponent, we take the reciprocal of the base. So this that was in the numerator now comes down to the denominator, and then I rewrite that power as positive. Now I distribute that power. 1 cubed, 1 times 1 times 1 is 1. And then here, negative 2 cubed, negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, times another negative 2 is negative 8. And then monomial raised to a power, I multiply those exponents and get x to the 15th.